jumping across the water, teleporting across the map, seeing every enemy in the bush. Gadgets are coming, and I'm going to show you every single one. The ones that aren't so good, the ones that are too OP, and even some really strange things as well. Yo, that homie straight flying. Hey everyone, what's happening? Lex back today for another sneak peek video. Now, I'm going to show you all the gadgets in Brawl Stars today. Well, except for Jacky and the other brawler, which we can't mention or show just yet. But if you subscribe and turn on those notifications, when the sneak peeks come for those two brawlers, which is going to be very soon, you will be one of the first people to see those brawlers in action. So we have 33 gadgets to cover. And if you notice, this video isn't 35 minutes long, so that means I've only got about 30 seconds for each gadget to show it to you, show you some cool stuff, and move along to the next one. There are a few notes about gadgets before I hop into those. First off, power play does not require that you have a gadget. Damage dealing gadgets like spikes do not charge your super, just like a star power. Friendly rooms, you can turn gadgets on or off, so if you want to play with them or if you want to play without them, it's up to you. And lastly, of course, gadgets are unlocked at level 7 and you can find them in the shop, and they will be purchased through coins or gems. And out of a box, you will have a 2% drop rate for these gadgets, as well as they will cost 1,000 coins in the shop. Now, at the end of this video, I will tell you the best 3 and the worst 3 gadgets, so you know which ones to avoid and you know which ones to pick up. That way, you don't waste your gems on something that really isn't that great. Of course, if you're going to be spending gems in Brawl Stars, be sure to use code LEX. It really, really helps out this channel and my family. It helps support me, and thank you so much. Thank you so much to everybody who has used my code in game. It really is quite amazing, the support you guys have showed me, and I love you guys. Thank you very much. And now, without further ado, we have 33 gadgets back to back. First off, we have Shelly with Fast Forward. Shelly dashes ahead, skipping a few unnecessary steps. Basically, whichever direction you're walking, you zoom towards the target and it just, it's a dash forward. Pretty simple to understand, but you can get yourself in some really cool positions. Now, one thing to note is that anything that you can't do while you're walking, you can't do while you're dashing, like over water or even through like bones or trying to stop a Frank super. No, that doesn't work anyway either. Again, only things that can happen while you're walking can happen with Fast Forward. Next up, we have Nita and Bear Paws. Nita commands her bear to slam the ground, stunning enemies within its reach. Of course, you just use it and it'll stun the enemies for a brief amount of time while they just stand there and quiver in fear. You can use it for some pretty cool situations like stopping an enemy trying to get into a goal. Yeah, it might buy you just enough time to make a goal. It also does work on a siege robot as well as the Ike to stop the damage for just a moment. Colt's gadget is called Speedloader. Pretty easy to understand. He instantly recharges 2 ammo. So if you're out of ammo, you hit the gadget, boom, you've got 2 ammo right back. This does allow Colt to have a massive burst of damage when you need it. In those clutch moments when you need to stop somebody and you ran out of ammo, this may be just the thing that you're looking for. Next up is Bull and his T-Bone Injector. It is also very easy to understand. It gives you 1,500 health whenever you press that gadget. So you're running low on health and you need some help from a T-Bone, boom, hit your gadget. Obviously, the protein has just invigorated Bull and he gets more health. Jessie has a gadget called Spark Plug. It triggers a shockwave from her turret, slowing down all enemies within its area of effect. You can think of it like Bee's super. It does about the same amount of slowing effect, and it doesn't have quite the length or the radius, of course, as that, but it does do a good job. However, they do have to be somewhat close to the turret itself to work, but once it does, you can see they slow down there, and as long as your turret is alive, you can use this gadget, assuming you have the charges. Now we have Rocket Laces. Brock blasts the ground below him and propels himself into the air. The explosion deals 500 damage to all nearby enemies. This is one of the coolest ones to me. Look, you can jump over water. You can get yourself out of a pickle if you want to, or if you want to be aggressive, you can do that as well. I absolutely adore this gadget. I think it is so good, and it's going to be really fun. Dynamite has revealed the true fidget spinner in his life. When he uses his gadget, he spins and throws sticks of dynamite everywhere, dealing 700 damage. Now, it does look really, really cool. One of the best animations. In practice, I found that it wasn't like crazy useful, but again, I'm just playing against bots, so it's hard to tell. But yeah, Mike, throw them sticks of dynamite everywhere. Next up is Super Totem from Bo, also very easy to understand. In this very small radius, whenever you stand in that, you can see his super is charging. So you put it down there and it passively charges everybody's super who is standing in that radius. Now, it does only have a 1000 health, so it can be destroyed very easily, but it is a very cool super, and I think that it fits Bo and his style very well. Next up is Tick and Backup Mine. Tick makes a quick dash, leaving a single mine on the ground. It's exactly what you think. Whichever direction you're facing, he will dash that direction, leaving one solitary mine behind. Now, it doesn't deal as much damage as a normal mine. I think it does 700 damage. It's still really cool. I think more than anything, like you can see there, getting away from a super or getting yourself out of a bad situation is what it's going to be best used for. Now, one of the coolest gadgets is Cheat Cartridge from 8-Bit. He instantly teleports to his damage booster, and the booster is destroyed in the process. You can see there is a length that it goes out of range. You can see it goes from green to gray. Whenever it's green, you can use it. Gray, you cannot. Line of sight doesn't matter. You can be on the other side of a wall. It still works, but distance does matter. You can get yourself out of a pickle, or you can even get really aggressive, throw it into a situation, teleport yourself there, and take down an enemy. The next one here is Friend Zoner. Ems pushes back all enemies around her while also dealing 500 damage. Pretty easy to understand, pretty wide radius that it, uses that area effect. You can get the ball out of someone's hand in Brawl Ball, which is going to be very effective. But it's nothing crazy, but it's going to be a very good gadget. Next up is Suplex Supplement, probably one of my favorites as well. El Primo grabs the closest enemy, and he basically just throws them over their shoulder, does a suplex. Smaller enemies do travel farther than larger enemies. You can even do some really cool things. Kick the ball, throw somebody out of your way, and score. This one is a ton of fun. Next up, we have Sticky Syrup Mixer. Barley drops a sticky concoction that leaves a puddle, slowing down all enemies that make contact with it. It's about the same size as a Spike Super, and it just slows them. Again, very similar to Spike Super, but it doesn't deal near as much damage. As you can see, 100 per tick. Poco's gadget is called Tuning Fork. Poco and all nearby allies heal 500 health per second for 5 seconds. So 2,500 health over the course of 5 seconds. It's going to be a very good gadget, not super flashy, but hey, if you want to keep your teammates alive, this is the one to do it. Rosa has a gadget called Grow Light. Rosa fertilizes the ground around her, and bushes instantly grow to provide her cover. These bushes do not go away. They are permanent. So, if you've ever wanted to make Feast or Famine completely covered in grass, even the middle, then you can do that. Or some other cool things is like if you wanted to create a path outside of the middle or, give yourself cover nonstop, you could do that as well. Next up is Rico and his Multiball Launcher gadget. It shoots his bouncing balls in all directions from the direct middle of him. It does quite a bit of damage, especially if there's lots of enemies around or walls that they can bounce off of. It's pretty cool. You can actually stand on a safe and do a lot of damage, or just put some extra pressure on the enemies when you need to. Daryl gets a gadget called Recoiling Rotator. He spins around and sprays a barrage of shots in all directions. It does about 700 per shot there, as you can see. Not a ton, it's not crazy, but it is decent. Penny has a really cool one called Pocket Detonator. Penny blows up her cannon. The explosion destroys walls and deals 1,500 damage to everyone nearby. It can do an insane amount of damage if people are grouped up, but the biggest thing is that it also can destroy walls. With Heat Injector, Carl drops a trail of hot rocks behind his carts. The rocks deal 300 damage per second to enemies who step on them. Of course, they stay there and they just leave a trail. It's a pretty cool gadget. It's not like super game changing, but it is pretty neat, and it'll, if you need to run away and somebody's following you, this might be a good way to get them off your tail. Auto Aimer by Piper. She shoots 4 quick shots at the closest enemy. Each shot deals 400 damage. Now, here's the bad side for this one is that the shots travel relatively slow and you can't aim them, so it's just auto-aimed. Also, if you shoot while it's in progress, it stops the progress of those shots. In practice, I found this one to be really underwhelming. Next is Pulse Modulator from Pam. Pam triggers her turret to emit a pulse and heal allies inside for 1,200 health. This one's pretty cool, and it fits her style of her play and everything in her healing just really well. Next up, we have Active Noise Canceling. This one is really cool because Frank will clear any disabling effects that are currently active to him, as well as prevent any new knockbacks or stuns from happening. Think about using it in a situation like Spike Super is on the ground. You want to run through it without being slowed down? You got this gadget. How about another enemy Frank just stunned you and you want to get out of it? Use your gadget. Or you could even prevent that stun from happening. Also, Daryl can fly. Okay, so it's actually just a bug. I don't know exactly why it happened, but I did submit it. Hopefully they'll fix that before the game goes live. Next up is Vitamin Booster with BB. She heals 600 health per second for 4 seconds. Combine this with her other star power with her shield, and this could be an amazing, amazing gadget. She will be able to deflect so much damage while healing herself up. We've got Honey Molasses from B. She drops a beehive with a splashy stick of honey around it. Anybody that steps in this is going to be slowed down. It's a permanent station that does slow anybody down. Again, it has 1,000 health, so it can be destroyed easily, but it's something you're going to want to destroy, or else you're going to be walking rather slow through that honey. Then we have Combo Spinner from Mortis. Mortis spins his shovel, hitting all enemies around him for 1,300 damage. This one is a lot of fun. I don't know if it's like one of the best, but it is a ton of fun, and I think this is going to allow Mortis to get some really amazing team wipes and kills. It's honestly one of the most fun ones that I played with. I just thought it was really cool. Next we have Lamp, Blowout, and Gene. Gene pushes back all enemies around him while he gains 1,000 health, so he can heal himself and do some pushback. Again, very cool. You can knock the ball out of people's hands in Brawl Ball, so that will be a nice little side effect. Now, perhaps one of the coolest ones is Psychic Enhancer. Terra and her allies are able to see all enemies for 5 seconds. Now, it does cancel whenever you attack, but think about using this in Snake Prairie. Holy cow, all the enemies, you're going to know exactly where they are. I absolutely love this gadget. Moving along, we have Max and Phase Shifter. Max dashes forward and becomes immune to all damage from enemies while dashing. This one is going to be a very dynamic one. You can actually dribble the ball in Brawl Ball. Now, you can't dash and pick it up. Again, I don't know why this dash works differently from like a normal walk, but if you want to dribble the ball, you can do that. If you pass it and then dash to it right away, it does work very cool like that. Mr. P's gadget is a little underwhelming. He buffs his current porter's damage by 150 and its health by 1,000. Now, the porters are strong, no doubt, but you can only do it for your current porter, not the future ones, not the porter station, just the one porter at that time who happens to be alive. It sounds kind of cool, but in practice, those porters die off usually pretty quick. Now, perhaps the strongest gadget is Popping Pincushion. Spike shoots 3 waves of needles in all directions, dealing 520 damage per needle. Take a look at how fast he destroys this robot in the training cave. Now, I fully expect this gadget to get nerfed. This is where the big work in progress comes into on the developer's build. These things are constantly in flux, and if it goes live in-game like this, then it's going to be an amazing gadget, but I kind of expect it to get nerfed. My boy Crow and Defense Booster. Crow gets a shield for 60% of the damage for 3 seconds. Although it sounds rather bland, it is actually going to work out pretty nice with him. Jump in, pop your shield while you're doing your damage. It's going to make Crow be able to be a lot more dynamic, at least 3 times per match, which is really cool, and I'm excited to see this and play with this gadget. Sweet Sandy and his sleep simulator. Sandy falls asleep for 2 seconds, and at the end of that 2 seconds, he recovers all of his health. Now, this sounds really strong, but the thing is, while he's sleeping, he is not immune to damage. He's just sitting there doing nothing. It's a complete loss of control. If it happens to go off before the end of it, cool, you get your health back. But if you're expecting to stand in the middle of damage and be able to use it, think again, you'll probably end up dying. And finally, we have Leon and Clone Projector. Leon creates an illusion of himself to confuse his enemies. That's right, there are 2 of you on the field. Now, the fake Leon just runs towards the nearest enemy. He doesn't actually attack. He can't attack. And if he is hit with any damage whatsoever, he dies. So there you guys go. Every gadget coming into Brawl Stars except for Jacky and the other new Brawler. Now, as for the gadgets you want to pick up and for the ones you want to avoid, 2 that you definitely want to avoid are Piper and Mr. P. They just don't provide enough value. They're really, honestly, not very good right now. Daryl's is also not too far behind. It does some damage, but it's not really great. It's just kind of meh. As for the ones you want to pick up, at number 3, I'm going to say Brock and Terra. Pretty even. Terra's is actually better, but it's more situational. Brock's is just ridiculously fun as well. Right above them, I would give it to Crow and 8-Bit. 8-Bits is really game-changing. Crow's is actually really strong as well, but the strongest gadget in the game in terms of overall power has got to be Frank's. To be able to make sure that your super is going to go off or, break yourself out of a super, make yourself immune to knockbacks. I think that might be a little bit broken in Brawl Ball. You pop a gadget with 10,000 HP, you can't be stunned or knocked back, and you just walk it in. We'll see how that goes, but I would put Spike up there, but I fully expect that one to be nerfed. That's going to wrap it up for this video, though. I hope you guys enjoyed all the info I dropped on you. Stay tuned for more sneak peeks, and until next time, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace out.